Hello, Dante Spector here. I'm here to give you a complete overview of the new and epic Dwarfins Long House. What is the Long House, you ask? Well, we had a lot of people say, I want more Dwarfins, but I've run out of prims. Or I'd like to be able to manage my Dwarfins while I'm at work. Shame on you. Or somewhere else. The Dwarfins Long House is basically a way to take your in-world Dwarfins and put them online. Only online. So you free up those prims. You can access them via any location that has access to a web page, and there you go. Epic and awesome. So, without further ado, let's give you an overview of what the Longhouse has to offer. To get there, you simply have to log into the Dwarfins website and hit your players links and choose My Longhouse. And from there, you're going to see this screen come up. When you first come in, these cards, as I call them, these Dwarfins, are not going to be there. They're going to ask you to pick a category first. So I've just chosen all. And by doing so, it's going to list every Dwarfin that you have in the Longhouse, whether it's a birth rock, alive, or a petrified, or what have you. So let's start at the top here. Starting at the top left, the little ham icon here is your available meals, your online meals, I should say. These do not represent hams or recipes that are sitting currently in world or even in your inventory for that matter. These are very specifically online meals. To get meals online, you have two options. You can go to our sim and purchase online meals from a vendor. And those come in all the regular ham sizes, so 28 meals, etc. And they're the same price as the hams used to be. The other option is to go to your pantry and choose to either deliver an ingredient or create a recipe. And there used to be a pop-up there that said deliver or cancel. Well, now it's the same options, but you can send to online meals as well. Once you do that, you'll see your online meals increase by depending on what you chose to send to online meals. So obviously a Caudell brewery item is going to give you a lot more meals than just a simple corn or peas. You can see your online meals there, or once you're logged in the upper right. I've disabled it because this is a test account, but you could see your online meals next to your logged in name there as well. Moving right along, little Dwarfin silhouette here. This is how many Dwarfins you have in the Longhouse. Now this is two numbers. The right number is the total number of Dwarfins in the Longhouse, and the left number is how many you're currently viewing. So if I was to pick birth rocks, you're going to see that number drop to 7 out of 20. I only have 7 birth rocks in here. If we want to search, which is the next box here, we're going to have to type 3 letters minimum. So I'm going to start, and it doesn't have to be the very first character in the Dwarfin's name. Obviously, this searches names. So if I want to say, give me all Dwarfins that start with 4, 1, 5, you'll see it automatically reduces the number of cards available to accommodate the search you're doing. I have one here in the bottom left called Mr. Duplicate. So I can search just that guy, and there you go. Magnifying glass just says this is a search box. It doesn't actually do anything. The X will clear your search and return you back to the view you were in before. This doesn't have to be in the all mode. You can be in birth rocks, and I could say 416, and it's going to search just based on your current view. It's not showing any lives here or partners or whatnot. It's just birth rocks. So there you go. And a recent addition was folks wanted to say, well, look, I want to see all the traits that have maybe Tavern Master in them. So this checkbox here allows you to search by trait name as well. So I'm not just searching names now, I'm searching both Dwarfin names and the trait names. So I'm going to type in Tav for Tavern Master, and anybody with Tavern Master in their traits now shows up. So it's a little handy thing. Oops. So we're still in the all view here. Going on, there's a A to Z icon here. If you've ever worked with Windows or any other, Microsoft application, this is generally a sort thing, and that's exactly what it is here. I'll click it, and you get a pop-up here that says, I want to rearrange my cards based on energy or age or name, Dwarfin ID. By default, they're Dwarfin ID, but let's say we want to go by age, and that's going to give you the youngest first and the oldest last. So it's fairly self-explanatory. Give me all the ones that have the most hunger first, etc. So that's the top bar where your tools are. Let's go back into the cards here, and I call these cards because to me they look like cards. You can call them whatever you like, obviously, but each card has the information about the Dwarfin itself, its ID, its gender. The energy and hunger here are progress bars. As they get, for instance, the energy gets higher, you're going to see it get more and more green. not sure if I have a lower, like this guy here has got a lower energy, so his isn't as green. To see the actual percentage of hunger or energy, you simply just move your mouse over the bar and it'll tell you in the pop-up there what the actual percentage is. Moving on, the age of the Dwarfin, how much gold it has. Birth rocks will just say not birthed in the age. So you know, if they are partnered, they're going to have a partner's line here, so that this person here is partnered with a card directly to the right of it. Below that are all the traits that Dwarfin has. And then we move into the bottom bar here, and that's where the action buttons for that card are. Moving left to right, this first one is either going to be a heart that's broken, like this one is, or a fully solid heart. The broken one means it's partnered and you want to unpartner it, and you'll be given a dialogue if you click it. You sure you want to do that, yes or no? And then the full heart is if you want to partner this Dwarfin with another one. So let's go through that. Once I clicked it, it's moving up here and asking you to drag and drop one male and one female Dwarfin card to partner into this black box. You can cancel out of it if you didn't want to do that. Let's do it again. Now I'm going to click anywhere on this card and just drag. Now you see that card is now a little box, a little helper they call it, telling you which one you're currently dragging. So I'll drag it right into that box and let go. Now it's permanently in there. If you didn't want it in there, you can click the X. Bam, it's gone. Put them back, and that's the male, and let's drag a female in there for it too. And now you're presented with the dialogue, do you want to partner these two Dwarfins? If you were to put in ones that were not eligible to partner, say you had a petrified Dwarfin and you tried to drop it in there, it's going to tell you, look, you can't do that, it's petrified, and so forth. Letting you know here that you want to partner these Dwarfins, click yes. If not, you can click the little X I showed you to get rid of them from the partner box. So let's go ahead and partner them. And it successfully worked. Okay. So now you see, now that they're partnered, we have the little broken heart symbol next to them. Let's go ahead and unpartner them now. Yes, I want to unpartner, and that's successful. Okay, moving on, this upper right, or upper arrow, excuse me, is the return to Andronicus button. You'll see these both on birth rocks and on live Dwarfins. If I click that, of course, you get the confirmation number, or message, yes or no. And it's the same as in World without the fancy sparkles. It's just going to give you all the gold on that Dwarfin into your player account, and they are now returned and you can't get them back. So it is a permanent thing, so be careful when you do it. Moving along, the next button is the mining options button. If I click this, I'm going to get the mining window. And we have one of two choices here, two buttons to choose from. The double mining picks here is mine this Dwarfin to 0 energy. And the single one is just mine it just one time and take 5% energy. So try to mine once. Oops, I picked the wrong one. This guy didn't have enough energy to mine. So let's close that. And I'll go down to one that actually has some energy. Same deal. This one I'm going to mine once first just to show you what it's like. Congratulations, you got some wood. Let's go ahead and mine it to 0. If you're quick, you'll notice the little spinning icon here while it thinks. And it removes the buttons as well. So what we're trying to tell you here is try not to get out of this screen while it's thinking. It's still going to mine up and use up all the energy. You're just not going to see what it actually mined up. So if we're patient and we waited till all the mining came up, which wasn't all that long, you see that lickety-split, it got all the mining it needed to do, and you didn't have to wait an hour for it to do it every so often. It's just instant. We'll go ahead and try to mine once more. Excuse me. And lo and behold, again, I don't have enough energy to mine now, so it takes care of that. As soon as I close this window, you're going to notice that it was this card right behind the window here that I clicked on, and you can see the energy bar is pretty much full there. When I close it, boom, it's updated our energy, and he doesn't have enough energy to mine now. Moving right along, the next icon is these two hands here, and this is basically whether mating is turned on or off. If you don't see a red X in there, it means the mating is turned on. To click it and you get a red X, that means the mating is now turned off. By default, when a Dwarfin comes into the Longhouse from SL, or you birth a Dwarfin into the Longhouse from the Longhouse, by default their mating is always on. So you'll have to, if you say have a Dwarfin that's dedicated to mining only, and you don't want it to mate with another Dwarfin and use up energy for that, you simply want to click that off, and it will never do it again. One last thing for the cards here. Well, there's a couple more. One last thing up for all cards, though, is the name, you can change the name of a dwarfin in world, in the Longhouse. So I want to rename this guy to my renamed dwarfin. Now, if I didn't want to do that, I just accidentally click the name, click the red X, no harm, no foul. It goes on with life. But I do want to change his name, so I'm going to click the green check mark. And the name was successfully changed. And there he is, my renamed dwarfin. So this is the live dwarfins that have the 4 buttons on them. There is one exception. When a dwarfin is way too old, he won't have 2 of these buttons. And here's an example right here, excuse me. As this guy is 1,099 days old, or female, excuse me, she's not going to have the partner button or the mating options button. Just be aware of that. I will recategorize my screen by birth rocks. So now I'm just looking at birth rocks. You notice these only have the 2 buttons. You can return a birth rock to Andronicus this way, and let's go ahead and do that. Are you sure this is permanent? Yes, indeed, I do. And it's letting you know that although it did return it, if you looked at your top where your login normally is, it shows you how much gold you have. This isn't going to update the gold up there until you actually click refresh on your browser. So he's gone. 4 of these cards are store-bought dwarfins, so they don't have any parents. But ones that were created by 2 other dwarfins, you'll see that they have the father ID and the mother ID. If you simply want to check them out for lineages and so forth, click the number there, the link, and it'll bring up the normal dwarfin information page that you've probably seen before, and you can see what the traits were for that. Well, let's see. I think that about sums it up for this video. I believe I've covered pretty much everything. So you know, though, the Longhouse dwarfins don't have their hunger and energy updated but once an hour. So if you partner 2 dwarfins that have 100% energy and normally in Second Life within 5 minutes they would have popped a rock out, it's not going to happen in the Longhouse. To keep the server from exploding, we just tackle all the Longhouse dwarfins once an hour. So don't expect to partner 2 full energy dwarfins and see a baby right away, unless that hour was going to be up in just a minute anyway. But it could be up to an hour before you see a difference. Before you see that rock burst. That does it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was informative. If you ever have any questions on the Longhouse or anything else dwarfins-wise, please feel free to get into our group and pop that question out, and we'll be sure to help you. Thanks, and have a great day.